Hey guys, I'm Marissa.
Hey folks, I'm Marissa. I'm 26, living in Canada's capital. I'm fat, an artist, and I struggle with mental health. Welcome.
Marissa Matthews. For some, she's hilarious. For others, she's insufferable. And for many, she's one of the loudest voices of the fat acceptance movement online. But who is she really? Where does her worldview come from? And why do so many people resonate with her? Or do they? Even when her message clashes with medical reality. In this video, we're going to take a deep dive into the story of Marissa Matthews. We'll explore her childhood, her struggles with food and identity, her political views, and, of course, her TikTok persona that millions have watched. To be honest, this isn't going to be a roast. If you watch all the way through, you may find yourself laughing, cringing, feeling empathy, even sadness, because behind the comedy and the activism, there's a very human story here, one that explains why Marissa is the way she is today.
You may know me from dancing the haters away or yelling them away. You may know me for dancing with a pad on or for my art, my bloody art. Or you even might know me from my food videos and anti-diet culture videos. But as you can tell, there's one thing in common: the haters. Realistically, if it weren't for them, if I didn't stand up for myself, or if I didn't know my own worth and stand up for my own existence, you may have never found me on here. But whatever video got you here, thank you for being here, and thank you for sticking around. I've wanted a platform for a really long time, and now that I have one, I just hope that I can help you. Whether that be with your body image, or your confidence, or self-worth, or even educating you about fatphobia and diet culture, whatever it is, I just hope that we can grow together. So thank you so much for being here.
When I first sat down to research this video, my working title was simple: The Worst of the Fat Acceptance Movement. That was my mindset. I expected just an angry fat activist, another predictable stream of talking points, another figure who blames the world without reasons. But as I dug deeper, watching hundreds of her videos, going back to her earliest YouTube uploads, I changed my mind. And by the end, I realized something I didn't expect. Marissa Matthews is not the worst of the movement. She is, in many ways, maybe its most tragic character. Now, don't get me wrong, I still disagree with her on a lot of things, especially when it comes to fat acceptance and her more extreme claims. But this isn't a rage bait video. I'm not here just to dunk on her. The truth is more complicated and, I think, more important. Because behind her humor, behind her anger, and behind the endless flood of TikToks, there is a story of trauma, pain, defense mechanisms, and identity. A story that helps explain who Marissa really is.
Fat is not a bad word. Fat is not a bad word. Fat is not a bad word. Fat is a descriptive word. Let's all say it together. Fat is a descriptive word. Fat is a descriptive word. Fat is a descriptive word. Let's say it all together. Fat is a descriptive word. Fat is a descriptive word. Let's stop promoting disordered eating. Let's stop promoting disordered eating. Let's stop it. Let's stop it. Let's stop promoting disordered eating. Me existing does not warrant unsolicited health advice from strangers on the internet.
Your internalized fat phobia is showing.
Bitch! I'm sorry for having a body that is fat. You say work out, but when I do, that shit still makes you mad. Sounds like a you problem.
That's Marissa in her mood. And before we begin, I need to make a disclaimer. Everything you're about to hear is my personal opinion, shaped by the research I've done and the content Marissa herself has put online. So everything is based only on material Marissa herself has put online. I'm not here to expose secret information or cross boundaries. Every video shown in this documentary was published by Marissa herself, either on TikTok or YouTube. Some of the content is old, dating back nearly a decade. I wrestled with the question of whether it's okay to include some of these clips, but ultimately, she has chosen to keep these videos public, even recently posting on the same accounts, which means she is aware this content is still out there and wants it seen. So, for those of you who don't know her, let's review some of her videos and try to debunk her thinking.
But it's good to know my skincare's working.
What did you prove?
No. Anyone older than 4 years old should not be eating that little. Go away now.
Okay, but also not 5,000.
Nope, it's not a movement for everyone. The body positive movement is a movement created by fat black women for fat black women and other marginalized bodies. Thin people are not marginalized. Stop co-opting it.
Are you gatekeeping body positivity?
At first glance, it looks like typical fat acceptance content. Confidence, sass, clapping back at haters. But if we stop at the surface, we miss the bigger picture. To understand how she got here, we need to rewind, all the way back to her teenage years. But before we dive into her past, let's establish who Marissa is today. She's a fat activist, a loud, unapologetic advocate of body positivity. She rails against diet culture, against thin privilege, against doctors who, in her view, weaponize weight as an excuse for poor medical care. Her message is simple: love yourself as you are, reject fat phobia, and stop trying to shrink yourself for society. And that message, for obvious reasons, resonates with a lot of people. But if we want to really understand how she got here, if we want to unpack her worldview, we need to go way back, before TikTok, before the body positivity movement exploded, back to the videos she posted as nearly a teenager on YouTube.
I have a friend who was called fat when she was 12 years old. I have a friend who was bullied all through elementary school because she was a little different. I have a friend who has been made fun of because she laughs at everything and her laugh is loud and distracting. I have a friend who was told that she was too fat to ride a bike while fucking riding a bike. I have a friend who didn't like her body because of all the boys in her class made fun of her. All the time. That friend is me. That friend was me. But today, I truly love myself. I really do. I've been used and abused by all sorts of people in my life and in my past, but that does not define how I view the general population. It is how I react to these unfortunate events in my past, and it is how I react in a positive way and not a negative.
This is Marissa in her late teens, around 20 years old, recounting her experiences in school. Notice how raw this is. At one point, she almost cries.
And those people do not define who I am. I define me, and I define who I am.
She admits she was first called fat at 12, and from there, the bullying never stopped. It followed her throughout middle school and high school. This moment right here is the foundation for everything that would come later. If you've ever watched an episode of My 600-Pound Life, you know how these stories almost always begin. Childhood trauma. For Marissa, this was the crucible that forged her defensive, rebellious personality online. It explains why she lashes out at diet culture, why she makes jokes at her own expense, and why she frames fatness as a kind of shield. This is the foundation of her worldview. Constant rejection, constant reminders that she didn't fit in. And this is the first layer of the mask, the humor, the defensiveness. The personality we see now on TikTok starts here.
Welcome everybody. So today on Shit Marissa Says, I'm going to give you my reaction to America's election. Okay, so first of all, I am incredibly upset about what has happened. I physically could not get out of bed this morning. I've cried about 50 times today. I'm in total disgust, disappointment. Not really surprised though with how everything turned out.
So if you couldn't guess already, I stand with Hillary. I still stand with her.
She is talking about the 2016 elections and Trump's victory.
Explain myself as to why I still stand with Hillary, and explain myself as to why I do not support Trump. I will never support Trump. I will never support anything that he is associated with, anything that he does, any of his beliefs or morals or anything, regardless of, America. So in order to explain myself and my perspective, I need to take a step back. I need to say that I believe everything happens for a reason, and everything that happens to us puts us on the right path in life, regardless of how horrible our injustices are that we've gone through, or how negatively they. Because as long as we learn from the things that happen to us, we are able to grow, we're able to fight for what we believe in and what we stand for. So with the concept of everything happens for a reason, there is a reason why I share so many things about human rights and equal rights and women's rights. And there's a reason why I run a club on campus to help end gender-based violence. And there's a reason why I stand up for people who have no voice. And finally, there's this reason why I do not support Trump. Something that has happened to me that has led me to all of my morals and beliefs. So, trigger warning, when I was 16 years old, I lost my virginity to being sexually assaulted by a friend in youth group. So I kept this information to myself. I told a few friends who ended up telling my mother, and she made me go to the police. But unfortunately, nothing happened because they didn't believe me. It was he said, she said. It was too late after the fact. Essentially, I was not the perfect victim. I fucking hate the word victim. So legally, nothing ended up happening except for the officer telling him and his friends who ended up watching the incident, and he told them to never talk to me again, which they have not. And this incident, although it happened when I was 16 years old, I'm about to turn 22, and I did not officially get over it until last year, after I did a performance in the Vagina Monologues, which I am very thankful for. Therefore, now I'm actually able to talk about this situation. I just want our world to be nice, and it's not.
Bullying was not the only trauma. At 16, Marissa was abused. She has mentioned this again on TikTok.
This is a great point. A lot of people always ask me, why don't you want to be thin? There's a lot of reasons, and this is one of them. I don't get sexually harassed as much now than I did when I was thinner. My fat body literally protects me from getting harassed as much as I did before. Don't get me wrong, I still get harassed, and because I'm fat, people only see me as objects more often than not, but most people see women as objects anyway, regardless of your size, so. And to even get further into it, I get raped less now that I'm fat than I did when I was thinner. Yes, that means I've been raped more than once. And they all happened, oh no, not all of them. Most of them happened when I was thinner. So yeah, being fat can protect you from sexual harassment and sexual assault. Not always, it's just that's my experience and hers. And I'm not saying that you're not going to get harassed or raped if you're fat, but it might happen less.
Think about it. A teenager already struggling with self-image, already internalizing years of rejection, and then this violation. For many survivors, the result is a split. Part of you grows up too fast, while another part of you gets frozen in time. That's what I see when I watch Marissa now. Her over-the-top humor, her childish mannerisms, her refusal to take things seriously. These are not random quirks. They're shields. They're masks. They're ways of saying, if I act unserious, if I make myself intentionally undesirable, then maybe I can't be hurt again. And that, I believe, is the key to understanding Marissa Matthews. Not her weight, not just her TikToks, but the trauma that locked her into a permanent battle with herself and the world. She chose undesirability as a shield. And when you see her content through that lens, it stops being random. it starts to make sense. Here's where we arrive at the psychological layer. Marissa's defensive posture, her humor, her tendency to be childish and unserious. All of it makes sense when you frame it as a response to early pain. Humor becomes a mask, fatness becomes a shield, and acting silly becomes a way of avoiding serious confrontation. When you look at her TikToks today, with this in mind, the puzzle pieces fit together almost too neatly. Watch these clips. At first glance, they're cringe. They're silly. They feel like content made by someone who never really grew up. But if you know her story, the bullying, the abuse, the rejection, then suddenly this childishness looks more like a strategy, a way to keep the world at arm's length, a way to wear humor as armor.
Oh my god, another person who has a camera in my kitchen!
Where are the videos then? Can you show me a video of this? Of me eating that much? Can you? I'll wait.
So, since all of you uneducated fuckers think that I eat like shit, let me show you what I'm buying! Oh my god, some bok choy, some chicken broccoli with strawberries, tomatoes, and asparagus, and some apples, and some lettuce. Suck my dick.
Phantom. Where? 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 Can you do that? Can you do this? Woo! Where? Where?
Okay, what am I gonna make for lunch? Salmon and green beans. Let's just cut this open. Drizzle on the olive oil. Mix them up. So pretty. Seasoning. Flick of the wrist. Salt. Yum. Salmon time. Oh, oops. Let's try this again. Yeah. More olive oil. Bosa. Caress the fish. Lather it up. Damn, that's cold! Gotta wipe my hands. Too much oil. When life gives you lemons, put it on your salmon! More seasoning. Flip. Oh, the wrist again. Make sure it's even.
Don't forget to preach!
In it goes. I'll be waiting for you.
Now, here's where things really take off. Around this time, Marissa starts experimenting with TikTok, and like many creators, she gets her first wave of hate comments. Instead of retreating, she does the opposite. She doubles down. She embraces fat acceptance. She reframes criticism as proof of oppression. She leans into the movement that promises validation, community, and protection from the same kind of judgment she's faced before. From here on, TikTok becomes her world, her stage, her diary, her shield. She spends more and more time at home, pouring her energy into content while building an identity that is both empowering and, in some ways, limiting. The mask has now become the persona.
So I'm assuming some of you who are following me are questioning why everything that I've put on TikTok has been in my home. I live in Canada. It's winter here. So if I don't have to go outside, I don't.
Hello there, this is Marissa from Canada. Thank you for joining me on my trip outside for the first time this week because I live in Canada and it's cold here. And of course I'm going to turn off my lights because, global warming. And here I am about to go outside and embrace the cold. Oh, it's so cold. And so here we are. This is Ottawa. This is Canada.
So I had plans to, go outside today, be an actual human being. But I've already dealt with, too much stupid for today. So I'm going to stay inside. Maybe I'll try again tomorrow.
But Marissa isn't just a product of trauma and TikTok. There's more to the story. Before becoming a full-time content creator, she tried different paths. Education, retail jobs, side hustles, art projects. And each of these chapters adds another piece to the puzzle of who she is today. So let's take a closer look at her education and job experiences and how they shaped her views about work, people, and ultimately, herself.
Just a reminder, you do not have to be skinny to be pretty. You do not have to be skinny to be pretty. Fuck these societal standards. Fuck everybody making you feel like your body is not good enough. Fuck the bras. Don't wear fucking...
We don't have a detailed record of her academic journey, no transcripts, no deep blog posts about her studies, but the patterns are clear from what she herself says, from the way she talks about jobs, and from the kind of art she produces. What stands out most is this: Marissa never found belonging in traditional systems. School, college, the workplace. These were never places of comfort for her. Instead, they were constant reminders of not fitting in socially, not fitting in physically, not fitting in emotionally. From what she shares, we know she worked retail. She's posted multiple clips about it, mocking managers, customers, the absurdity of corporate rules. These are funny on the surface, but they reveal something deeper. Marissa never saw work as a ladder, only as a cage.
Woo! Another day at Shoppers. And look, the sign even says, dead inside. How fucking accurate is that? I'm gonna say very. I'm just super confused why anyone would do this. Look, someone just left. Okay, right here at work. And look. Fucking ate it. It's half eaten. And they just fucking leave it. Like, would you want me to throw this out? Like, were you not taught to clean up after yourself? Why are people like this? So, you know, you've worked at Shoppers Drug Mart too long when you go in other stores and you get excited that their store layout is better than your own store. And that today these aisles are really fucking wide and I'm very impressed. Aren't I funny? Yes. Have you ever just been like, you know, just minding your own business and shopping and then people walk up to you thinking that you work here? I'm sorry, I spent 5 years working here. I do not work here anymore. But I'm not an asshole, so I help them. Don't work for Shoppers Drug Mart. Okay? Just don't do it. Probably the worst waste of my fucking time in my entire life. I worked there for 5 years. Yes, 5 years of mistreatment. They do not care about you. I just got off the phone with my previous owner of the store, and guess what? Motherfucker, old Indian dude wouldn't let me speak. He wouldn't let me finish any of my sentences, and you know what I was asking for? My T4 after they fired me after 5 years. They legally have to give me my T4, but he wouldn't let me fucking talk. So here I am ranting on TikTok, and I'm gonna go call the government and tell on them. So yeah, that's my morning for ya.
Most people treat early jobs as stepping stones. You suffer, but you learn. For Marissa, those jobs became evidence that the world is stacked against her. Retail wasn't just bad management. It was another place where her anger was on display. And this brings us to a critical point: the transition from jobs to online identity. Because she never found stability in education or fulfillment in work, she shifted inward. She spent more time at home, on TikTok, online communities, and eventually on building her persona. TikTok became her world. Marissa didn't quit creating when she left retail. In fact, she leaned into it harder. She paints, she knits, she makes jewelry, she built small businesses around her craft, selling pieces directly to her audience. This is more than just a hobby. It's her way of reclaiming independence. Instead of depending on a boss or a company, she depends on her following. Every necklace, every scarf, every painting is not just income, it's validation. Now, by her own admission and through hints in her content, she doesn't seem to hold a conventional job anymore. She's probably unemployed in the traditional sense, but she earns through her businesses and her online presence. Some of that comes from art sales. Some comes from building a loyal audience who supports her projects. Marissa has also been open about her work in sex work, something that is legal in Canada where she's from. This is another piece of her story that tells us how she views independence, validation, and control.
This video has so many views! I didn't know so many of you would be interested in this. Okay, so I actually got banned from Tinder like twice, I think. The first time was because I had feminist in my bio, and that just made a lot of the anti-feminist men really mad. So then I would call them out on their bullshit, and then they would report me. And that happened like 5 or 6 times, I think, in 1 week, and then I got banned. But then they still have the option to use an email or to sign in with your Facebook. So then I'm pretty sure that I did that. And then I got banned because I was talking about money too much because I was using it to try and get clients. So Tinder doesn't like sex work, so... And I didn't mention this before, but I have been banned from Bumble too for also talking about money and trying to use it to get clients because they also don't like sex workers. So hopefully when I'm famous, I can make an app just for sex workers.
Welcome back to Marissa's Dating Diaries. I have another story for you. So I think this was on like Thursday or Friday. And this guy who I had matched with on Bumble, who was on my Snapchat, we matched like a month ago before I took it out of my bio. And then he starts messaging me at like 3 in the morning, 2 in the morning maybe. Hey, come over. I want you. Come over. Drive to me. I want you. Come over. Mind you, my response to all of that is saying, no. It's 2 in the morning. I'm going to bed. Are you going to send me $300 for an Uber? Mind you, he's in Toronto and I'm in St. Catharines. Do you think that he offered me money to pay for transportation that he wants me to take? Of course he didn't. So this goes on for like 10 minutes. And I'm saying no the entire time because I'm not going to get off of my ass in the middle of the night and go to Toronto without any car, let alone a driver's license, to go visit someone who I've never had an intellectual conversation with. Literally the audacity that men have, I just do not understand it. So anyway, he gets annoying, he doesn't get the message. So then I start saying, literally no, I am not interested in you. Like, I do not want to be with you. And you know what he says? That's okay, I was just kidding. I didn't really want you. Oh, I was just being nice. I was just being nice. Harassing me and not listening to me saying no is not being nice. And of course I told him that. You're too fat. I don't really like you. I don't really want to be with you. Really? Because you just spent 20 minutes trying to convince me to come to Toronto to be with you. Yet the second that I say no, you change your mind? Because you don't know how to handle rejection? Is that it? And then this motherfucker had the audacity to say that I was the weird one. So me saying no means I'm weird. Me not wanting you means that I'm the weird one. Me having boundaries means that I'm the weird one. Me asserting myself, saying no, means I'm the weird one. No, that guy was the weird one. His entitlement, thinking that I would travel hours to see him in the middle of the night, means that he's the weird one. Him not listening to me saying no means that he's the weird one. And then him not being able to handle rejection from a fat bitch is also makes him the weird one. That grammar was not correct, but whatever. And this is why I do not get with men until I have a conversation with them. Until the right amount of time has gone by where they can't hold their patience anymore. Because it always weeds them out. And this is a perfect example. I do have the screenshots and I really would prefer to show them, but I'm afraid that if I do, then this video is going to get taken down. But needless to say, you can imagine because it was hysterical. Oh, and not to mention, he also used his excuse of, I'm drunk, I'm sorry, I'm just trying to be nice, as an excuse. There is no excuse for sexual assault, and there is no excuse for ignoring me saying no. Do not do this. If you want to be rejected by a woman, then do this, but if you don't, then don't. Thanks, bye!
For some people, sex work is survival. For others, it's a political statement, an act of liberation against society's expectations. For Marissa, it seems to be both. On one hand, it was a way to earn money outside of traditional jobs, jobs she mocked and never found fulfilling. On the other hand, it was a radical act, a fat woman openly existing, sexual, visible, and unashamed. That challenges not just cultural beauty standards, but also the consumer who chooses to participate. To her critics, this is irresponsibility. To her supporters, it's liberation. To Marissa, it's survival. But survival comes with a cost, because when your income depends on your identity, you can't separate the two. Every TikTok, every piece of jewelry, every controversial statement, it's all part of the same performance. And when critics challenge her, they're not just challenging her ideas, they're threatening her livelihood. She also openly talks about her sex life, even bragging.
Wow, another day in the life of a woman! How many men have I blocked today? How many rape threats did I get? What about death threats? All because I said no! And I didn't want to fuck you. So this question is meant to be a complete insult, but this is actually just funny because I've broken 3. from fucking too hard and pounding too hard, but you know, that's not how you meant it, but you're welcome.
Okay, so today on Marissa's Dating Diaries, I actually wouldn't call it dating, but I went and I downloaded Bumble again because y'all were so interested. I tried to download Tinder, but I forgot that they banned me and I can't log in using my phone number and I can't use a fake one. So if anyone knows how to get around that so I can go on Tinder too and try that. But, okay, so first step, I downloaded Bumble. So I did all the swiping that I could for today on Bumble, and I got 34 matches. So I'm going to show you the message that I'm going to copy and paste and send to all of them. Okay, so my first message to everyone is as followed. Hey, so I just thought I'd get straight to the point and not waste anyone's time. I'm currently looking for a steady friends with benefit type of thing. So I'm going to hang out with once a week-ish, and to have some bomb ass with. I'm mainly looking for this because I don't want to be sleeping around with a lot of people with COVID and such, and because I've been lacking this kind of human interaction. Let me know if this interests you at all. So I'm going to send this to everybody that I match with and we'll check back in tomorrow. How am I going to make the fat phobes angry today? Well, I just had sex, so I'm good for the day. Thank you, bye! Okay, I just thought of something, and I don't know if it's like a good idea or like an evil genius idea. But, like, I could easily put lube down there first before they even arrive. And then that will, one, boost their ego, because I got so wet for them when I never actually did. But then also, it can prevent tearing. Because for some fucking reason, men hate using lube because it makes them less manly because I didn't produce enough liquid for them. Do you not know how the human body works? Sometimes you just can't. I'm gonna try it next time, I think. Like, just putting a little bit of lube down there. So it's all smooth and I won't get fucking gashed again. I like that idea. Yay. No, it's not. No, it's not out of the question, buddy. Mind you, this comment is like so freaking random. But no, it's not out of the question. It's actually fully in the question. Because it's called leg muscles. But it's also called, people specifically enjoy that. So, you don't have to do it though. But no, it's not out of the question. So, educate yourself. Thank you. Bye. So, have you ever felt like your time was wasted after you had sex with someone because it was so fucking bad? Stay tuned. Let's see how I talk to someone about how bad they were at sex. Okay. Oh, this is gonna be good. Okay, so we were already talking, and I was like, so can I ask you something? And he's like, yes. I was like, LOL. So did you think the sex was good? Or like, on a scale of 1 to 10, how enjoyable do you think it was for you versus me? Because unfortunately, a lot of guys do not even consider the pleasure of the woman when they have sex. I know, surprising. Haha, LOL, I'm dead. It wasn't the best, no cap. Not gonna lie, I was tired. I'm like, care to elaborate why you thought it wasn't good? And of course, what he says next is, ha ha, why all these questions? So I continue by saying, and why didn't you seem to care whether or not I got off? And this is running out of time, so part 2.
And this is where her life begins to merge with her content. When you don't have the validation of school or career, you find it elsewhere. Through body politics, fat acceptance, online visibility. But here's the irony. Even as she defends her choices online, her content constantly circles back to food, eating habits, laziness, sleep apnea, depression. She deletes comments, shuts down criticism, and doubles down on fat liberation as a shield.
2 a.m. story time. So I remember back in the day when I didn't have sleep issues. I know, and I had the audacity to brag about it. I remember going around being like, oh yeah, like I can fall asleep anywhere, like on a plane or in my classroom or... Honey, that's not good. Like the classroom part. But like I vividly remember like bragging to people about this, okay? Or like, oh, it only takes me like 3 minutes to fall asleep. Shouldn't brag about that. Because there's so many other people who have worse sleep issues. And now, I am one of them. So my sleep issue that I'm dealing with right now is sleep apnea. If you don't know what that is, it means you stop breathing while you sleep. Which means I wake up all the time. So that I don't actually sleep. Now today, I took some sleeping medicine, went to bed early, woke up at 2 a.m. and here we are.
Hi friends, it's Shit Marissa Says What I Eat in a Day as a depressed fat girl, but on a good mental health day.
All of this tells us something crucial about Marissa. She is driven less by what's expected and more by what feels like reclaiming control. Art isn't just decoration for her. It's survival. Selling jewelry isn't just a side hustle. It's proof that people value her. Sex work isn't just income. It's rebellion. And this is where TikTok becomes central again. Because TikTok is the stage where all of these identities intersect. The activist, the artist, the performer, the outsider, the rebel. She doesn't just talk about fat acceptance. She lives a version of it by monetizing her difference and refusing to conform. But that leads to the big question. When your life, your art, your activism, and your identity are all wrapped together, where do you draw the line between authentic expression and performance? That's the question we'll carry into the next chapter, where her worldview starts taking shape in her eating habits, lifestyle, and how she frames them publicly as part of her fat acceptance stance.
Bitch. I'm fat. You came to my page just to tell me that, but I love me and I love my snacks. You insecure, baby, that's so whack. Don't worry about me, get help with that. Bitch, I'm confident. The fuck?
If Chapter 2 was about how Marissa escaped the 9-to-5 grind and built a brand around her art and online presence, Chapter 3 is about what fills the day-to-day gaps in that life. Because once we step away for her jewelry shops and her TikTok uploads, what kind of person is Marissa, really? The answer isn't simple. In fact, it's full of contradictions. One day, Marissa admits she's lazy. She laughs about it, pokes fun at herself, and shrugs it off like it's no big deal. But then, in another clip, she insists she isn't lazy at all, that people just assume fat people are lazy, and she's proof that the stereotype is wrong.
Have you ever been so motivated yet so lazy at the exact same time? So motivated that you do all your laundry, but so lazy that you never fold it? I haven't sat on my couch. I live alone. I haven't sat on my couch in at least 6 months. If that. Probably longer. Okay, these are my clean clothes. Look how big the pile is. This is like 5 loads maybe? And that's clean too. This is all clean. Am I gonna fold it? 9 times out of 10 I probably wouldn't. But somebody's coming over tomorrow, so I'm gonna have to fold it. So yeah, I do my laundry, but I don't fold it. And I know I'm not the only one who does this, but in retrospect, I have too many clothes. An entire closet, a second rack, and a little cubby. Ah! So I'm a lazy cook, but I like food. I like to eat good things. So I have my staple recipes that I just repeat over and over and over again. So here's my little naan pizza with cheese and pepper.
But then says no to the accusation of being lazy. This is a pattern with her. She plays both sides. She acknowledges flaws when it makes her relatable and funny, but pushes back when it threatens her identity. It's less about lying and more about trying to keep control of the narrative.
Do you want to know how to promote obesity? You've come to the right place. I'm an expert. So sometimes when you promote obesity, this is all you have to do. Right here. This is all I have to do. Amazing, right?
Despite presenting herself as someone who doesn't go out much, Marissa does have friends. She films with them, references them, and clearly keeps some form of social circle. But even here, there's a tension. She's admitted she doesn't like people very much. She prefers to stay in her own space.
I really do think one of the biggest mistakes of my entire fucking life, and I've made a lot of them, I regret most of my life, but one of them is moving back in with people after living alone for so fucking long.
I feel like I'm never fully relaxed because I have to mask at all times, because I have to worry about fucking other social rules of everyone. And even when I'm in a bad mood, after like wearing the same shirt for fucking like 3 days, and I have headphones on downstairs, I'm still bothered and I'm still talked to. Do the headphones not indicate I don't want to be talked to? And I hate the fact that every time you enter a room, it's not like you're considered not polite if you don't say hello. I hate that. Why do I have to say hello to you when I enter a room? Why? I don't get that.
This becomes part of her identity. She's not blending into mainstream social life. She's the outsider who thrives in her own bubble. And yet, she still seeks companionship, validation, and recognition. Her room, as she's shown it, is often messy, another thing she sometimes laughs off. But then, on the other hand, she's extremely overconfident. She'll strut, pose, exaggerate her facial expressions, and insist she's hot, funny, and powerful.
You ever notice when you first start talking to a chubby girl and she starts sending you pictures, there's always that comment about her rolls and how gross they are? Baby girl, rolls are what keep Texas Roadhouse in business. Now give me some honey butter so I can lick it off of you too.
Again, it's contradiction. Behind the scenes, messy. On camera, self-proclaimed queen. And she doesn't seem to notice or care about the disconnect. To her, both realities can exist at the same time. Her eating habits tell us a lot too. For example, she's mentioned eating late at night, something often tied to unhealthy cycles. And while she promotes fat acceptance, this lifestyle aspect quietly supports the narrative critics already have of her, that she doesn't take care of herself.
What am I gonna make at 2 a.m. today? Let's find out.
Hey besties, this is another episode of What I Eat in a Day as a fat person who is not on a diet, but who is also promoting obesity because I'm existing. So I started my day with some water, and then the first thing I ate were mashed potatoes from the night before. They were super yummy, as you can tell by my face. Then for lunch, I had stir fry and rice again. We had this the other day as well. Leftovers for the win. Then I had a nice burger with some ketchup and mayo and cheddar cheese. I did a video on how I made these. Then I had some water and a piece of chocolate. Hi, Bellamy. And then I had some Fig Newtons. Thank you for watching. Bye.
Then we have her humor. To many, it's weird or even off-putting. She jokes openly about things like taking a shit or pissing. She exaggerates her tone, speaks in a strange, almost childish voice at times, and plays up this over-the-top persona.
Woo! I haven't been in the shopper's bathroom in like 3.5 weeks. Woo! I'm excited to take a shit because these toilets are high, so I don't have to bend down as much.
Please tell me I'm not the only one who's experienced this. You're all comfy and cozy in your bed and your blanket with your fuzzy stuff and all the layers. And then all of a sudden, you gotta poop or pee. But you don't go just yet because you're too comfy. So you sit in this uncomfortable, lazy situation that you have here. Still waiting, still sitting, still enjoying the comfiness of my bed. Sometimes the urges just go away, but other times it feels like it's gonna explode out of your asshole, so you end up running to the bathroom like your life depends on it. Don't worry, I made it.
Is it funny? To her fans, yes, it's part of the charm. But to critics, it looks like immaturity. It's another mask, using humor, often crude humor, as a shield against being taken too seriously. If people laugh at you because you wanted them to, then they aren't laughing at you for real. But here's the flip side. She also puts out sexualized content, sometimes extremely so. And this is where her contradictions stand out most clearly. She jokes like a teenager, but then posts content that is overtly adult. She wants to be both goofy and erotic, both childish and hypersexual. For her, these extremes coexist, but for the outside viewer, it feels confusing. even jarring.
Story time! Is that what people say? Is that how this works? So I'm just chilling. Friday night. It's Friday, right? When you're an adult and you don't know what the fuck of the day of the week it is. But yeah, it's Fridays and I'm just chilling. Doing some painting. Drinking my wine. Because yes, I'm one of those adults now who would rather stay in than go out. But that's not why I'm making this video.
So I think that I speak for most, if not many, if not all women who are over the age of, 23 on TikTok maybe? Because, 21, you're still young, you can still bang those, 17-year-olds can catch a case. But I think I speak for everybody else who's older than them. Bro, you're not allowed to do this shit. Or, if you can't last longer than 5 minutes. Okay, you're legally not allowed to do the or the Shakira shit. Like, you're not allowed to do that if you can't last longer than 5 minutes, man. Man, like, come on. I know I'm not the only one who's thinking this. I know. You're legally not allowed to do it. Okay? Can't last longer than 5 minutes? Also, you probably haven't even done it either. Can't do it.
Marissa doesn't just keep her lifestyle personal. She frames it through her worldview. A few key points. She once said she doesn't like the United States.
Very, very clear, extremely clear, that we are not American, that we're not from the States, and that we're not from the country who birthed Trump. Eh?
She claims she's happy, but has admitted in other videos to depression. She often frames the world as thin versus fat. To her, life is not just random chaos. It's a battleground where thin people have privilege and fat people are oppressed.
So I'm currently arguing with some skinny bitch on some other influencers' post.
This worldview is what ties all her contradictions together. Because even when she admits to flaws, messiness, laziness, depression, she always connects it back to fatness and how society treats her for it. Put all of this together and you get what I'd call the persona of contradictions. Lazy and hardworking. Childish and grown responsible adult. Messy and overconfident. Happy and depressed. Social but doesn't like people. To her fans, this makes her layered and authentic. To her critics, it makes her hypocritical and unstable. To me, it shows a person who is constantly negotiating her identity, always shifting between masks, always performing for the camera, but also leaking moments of raw honesty that break the illusion. And it's here where we see the real foundation of her fat acceptance. It isn't just about loving your body. It's about creating a worldview where all these contradictions are allowed to exist without judgment. In her universe, you can be depressed and still claim happiness. You can be immature and still command respect. But the question remains, is this genuine liberation? Or is it simply building a narrative that excuses the very habits that keep her stuck? That's what we'll explore in the next chapter, where her views on activism, thin privilege, and online discourse take center stage.
For the millionth fucking time, existing as a fat person is not promoting obesity. Loving your body and being confident about your body is also not promoting obesity. So fuck off.
If we're going to understand Marissa's worldview, we can't just analyze her as an individual. We have to zoom out and look at the larger movement she's attached to: fat acceptance and body positivity. On paper, the idea sounds harmless, even good. Love yourself. But movements often start with noble intentions and then grow into something much more extreme. And that's exactly what happened here.
Let's stop promoting disordered eating.
Body positivity began as a way to include marginalized bodies in the conversation.
disabled bodies, scarred bodies, fat bodies. And in that sense, it had merit. But as it morphed into fat activism, the message changed. It stopped being about acceptance and became about defiance. Not just, I accept that I'm fat, but society must celebrate me for being fat. That's a leap. That's where critics like me see a problem. Because the moment you demand validation for being unhealthy, you're no longer spreading positivity, you're spreading delusion.
Hello there, everyone. This is just a friendly reminder that you are allowed to be fat. You're allowed to exist as a fat person. You are allowed to do that. And if you are fat, there's nothing wrong with that. There's nothing morally wrong with being fat. There's nothing wrong with it. You're allowed to do it. You're allowed to exist in your fat body, and you're allowed to do it happily. You're allowed to do it happily. I repeat, you are allowed to do it happily. You are allowed to be fat and happy. Okay? So diet culture, when it tells you that you're not, yeah, it's a fucking lie. It's a fucking lie. Okay? You're allowed to be fat. You're allowed to be happy, regardless of what fucking anyone says. So if you needed permission, I just gave you some. Okay? Now have a fabulous fat fucking day.
This is one of the key tenets of fat activism. The idea that the world is split into two camps: thin people and fat people. Thin people get privilege. Fat people get oppression. Now, discrimination exists, sure, but the movement treats body size as if it's equivalent to race or sexuality, things you are born into and can't change. And this is where the comparison collapses.
Now, this is nothing against her. I actually love her videos so much, but I looked through the comment section and I just want to say this out loud for people to understand. People who think that thin privilege doesn't exist, she is making this video, this food. Personally, I've never had Chick-fil-A. I live in Canada, but the fact that she can make this, she is thinner, like she's a thin body. Okay, she is making this, and there's not one comment that is health shaming her, or fat shaming her, or like saying, ew, that's a gross meal, because she's thin. Whereas if I made anything remotely like this, I would have death threats, and people would be health shaming me. So that's what thin privilege is. And no disrespect to her, I love her videos. This is just a perfect example because it has decent popularity. But this is what thin privilege is. She doesn't get health shamed, and she doesn't get, like, food shamed.
I think you are the privileged one to eat like this every day.
Okay, so let's examine the difference between how fat people are treated and thin people are treated when they make the same recipe. So here we have a thin person making the exact same thing as me and using more oil, yet I did not find your comment on their post. And the same person put more olive oil on top of their cheese, and still no comment from you. Oops, here we have another one, again using olive oil and possibly more than I used, and still no comment of yours. Why aren't you commenting on their excessive olive oil use? Oh my god, look at all of that olive oil, the horror! Still no comment from you on that post though. Why is that? And another one for good measure. Olive oil, same amount, if not more than me, and no comment from you. The horror! This is a double standard in our society. Fat people cannot do the same thing as thin people without getting harassed. Go and learn your fatphobia.
Fat people cannot do the same thing thin people can is true in terms of diet. You cannot allow yourself more cheat meals. What is so controversial? And let's talk about the performance aspect. Fat activism is drenched in overconfidence. The louder, the brasher, the more exaggerated, the better. It's all about performing self-love so loudly that people stop questioning whether it's real. Marissa embodies this. The exaggerated voices, the childish tones, the in-your-face sexuality, it's all a performance. To her audience, it's entertainment. To critics, it looks like denial.
For the millionth fucking time, existing as a fat person is not promoting obesity. Loving your body and being confident about your body is also not promoting obesity. So fuck off, bitch.
So I've noticed that people get, TikTok famous and they make a TikTok in public. So I'm in public. Here I am. Don't let it flop.
Here's the problem with all of this. Fat activism doesn't just stop at personal choice. It bleeds into policy, into culture, into how we frame health. It demands that medical systems ignore weight. It reframes obesity as just another body type. And influencers like Marissa become the faces of this message. To her, being messy, eating late, staying indoors, being depressed, being overconfident, being sexual, it's all stitched together into one brand, the fat acceptance persona. And the movement rewards that persona, no matter the contradictions.
What am I gonna make at 3 o'clock in the morning today? How about a healthy pizza? Plop that down.
Don't just plop the spinach. You have to place everything nicely. See, all pretty. Time to cut the pepper. But first, make sure you rinse it and don't touch your dirty dishes. Halfway there. Shout out to my Cutco knife. Yum. Now let's plop it on. Oh, it looks like Christmas. Now don't forget to make it even or else it'll look stupid. The extras go back in the fridge because I'm not an asshole. Let's sprinkle some cheese. Sprinkle, sprinkle, sprinkle. Make it even like Steven. Let's add some turkey kielbasa. More cheese. And in she goes. How she cooks, nobody knows. Ooh, damn. Voila.
So here's where I stand. Body positivity, as it was originally intended, has value. No one should be bullied for their body. But fat activism as it exists now, the version Marissa embodies, is something entirely different. It's a shield, a brand, and a movement that takes people's very real struggles and rebrands them as victories.
I need to rant for a second because I just do not comprehend this mentality still. I just do not comprehend how people walk around in this life just thinking that all fat people should hate themselves. I just don't get that. I just do not get how you can, mind you, I'm a very depressed individual. I am a very mentally ill individual. But I don't go around spewing my own issues with myself in my life onto other people in a way that it's like, well, I hate my life, so everyone else should hate their life too. Like, I just don't get how people can walk around actively and positively being like, yeah, fat people should hate themselves. Fat people should not like themselves ever. And that the only time you can like yourself is if you're thin. I just do not understand how you can live a fulfilling, satisfying life thinking like that. I do not fucking understand that. I do not comprehend it. And the more that I have healed myself and the more that I've worked on myself and the more that I've educated myself, oh, it still makes me so angry, but I feel bad for those people. Oh my God, do I feel bad for those people. I'm not at the stage yet where I feel sorry for them and I give them nice and love and whatever. No, I don't know if I will ever be there, because if you are actively spewing that hate into the world, I can understand where it's coming from, and I can understand that you must fucking hate yourself so much that you want everyone else to hate themselves too. But at the same time, I will never be like, oh, bless you, with love. Like, I'm never fucking going to do that, at least right now. About a couple weeks ago, I went and I decided, oh, let me just see what's on the apps, just see if they're different. So I was trying Facebook dating because, you know, whatever the fuck. Oh, bad mistake. So this guy, oh my God. Oh, this rant is stemmed from a dude who was so fucking fatphobic. And then, obviously, I mentioned that I've slept with hundreds of people, right? And then he's like, oh yeah, the only people that you've slept with are like fat and desperate. And it's like, 1, no. 2, most of the people I have fucked, guess what? Are not fat. Not that that's
anything wrong with that. But most of the people who I've slept with, if I wanted to tally it all up and categorize everyone by body size, I would say at least 70% of the people are not fat, or not larger, or not plus size. This stuff just, oh my god, it's like nails on a chalkboard, grinds my gears, like holy fucking Christ. I just don't get how people can walk around in this life with everything that's happening and everything that's going on. I just don't understand how you can be so focused on other people's bodies and fat people's bodies. Like, oh my, the government already controls us in our bodies. Like, just worry about your fucking self. And if you don't like fat people, then don't fucking match with us. Like, oh, just get rid of the ego, unlearn it. Like, come on, people. It is so annoying to experience fat phobia every fucking day on the internet. Oh my fucking god. It is so fucking annoying. Oh my god. Anyway, I'm gonna go make a tea. I just don't get it. And if you're one of these people that, oh my god, that you just walk around fucking hating everyone and thinking that every fat person is miserable and hates their life and that being thin and losing weight and will fucking improve their life. No, the only person's life you have to worry about if you're thinking like that is your fucking own.
Throughout this video, we've gone deep into Marissa Matthews, her childhood, her art, her contradictions, and her activism. But to really close this story, we need to step back and ask, who is Marissa really? Because what we see online is, without question, a persona. Loud, overconfident, childish tones, sexual jokes, quirky messiness, silly humor. She sells jewelry, she paints, she knits, she builds a brand. But all of that is content. It's partly a mask, carefully crafted to present a version of herself that is entertaining, defiant, and unashamed.
No, I literally wanted to unalive myself because of all of the bullying. Literally leave me alone. I don't know how many times I have to repeat myself. You guys are literally harming my health. You are harming me. Like, you're harming me. Your unsolicited advice is harming me.
You should take a break from social media. You deserve better.
In some moments, the mask slips. She admits to being depressed. She admits to laziness, to being messy, to not liking people.
I'm like nature. I'm like a fall autumn day with a cool breeze. Some days I'm so calm and collected, able to let things go, like the leaves falling every season. Other days I'm like a thunderstorm. Wild, crazy, wet, really wet, bringing the storm with me, the wind, and bulldozing everything in sight. My life is like nature, and so many different things make up my being. I am so many different things. I'm not just one thing. I'm like the sunrise on a foggy morning, bright and beaming, but still not thinking clearly, and still a little groggy. I'm like a volcano, sometimes dormant, not exploding my anger and frustration onto others, but sometimes I'm like Pompeii, destroying everything in my path. Nothing and no one is safe. I'm not just one thing. I'm many things, just like nature. Humans are many things. Some days I'm like a hot summer's day, spicy, sassy, sweaty, but having the time of my life. Sometimes I'm like a light spring rainfall, refreshing and light, so young, fresh, supple, ready for love and ready to bloom. Sometimes I'm like a hailstorm, feels like I'm pounding down on you, so much sharp energy with some pain. I can also be like a cold, free snowstorm, crazy, cold, distant, icy to others, but still beautiful, just like the fresh layer of snow on everything. I'm like a fall autumn breeze, sweet smelling, simple and refreshing, but can easily destroy your lipstick with hair as I pick up wind. I'm even like some flowers, tulips blooming once a year, like me, growing and shining, just not all the time. I'm even like the cold midnight air, frigid and crisp, cold and chilling. Sometimes I choose to be like that on purpose so no one talks to me, alone in the midnight air. I'm so many different things. Nature is too. Why can't we be more like nature? Why can't we be more than just one thing? Nature has so many variations.
So many parts make up Mother Earth, just like me. I'm so many different things. I'm human. Thank you.
And that's the paradox of Marissa Matthews, and of fat activism in general. On the outside, celebration, confidence, loudness, rebellion. On the inside, contradictions, unhappiness, isolation. Her fans see the confidence and cheer. Her critics see the contradictions and laugh. But behind both of those reactions is a person who built her entire world on the internet. Her business, her friendships, her self-image.
Aww, I've already gotten an insult. Of course it's for my size. What else would it be? Because nobody can think of creative insults anymore. They just attack the way you look. Try again. Let's not.
So what do we make of Marissa Matthews? Is she the face of fat acceptance, a cautionary tale, a creative entrepreneur who found her niche online? Maybe she's all of those things, depending on how you look at her. I don't agree with fat activism. I think it normalizes unhealthy habits, masks real pain, and rewards contradictions. But at the same time, after watching hours of Marissa's content, I don't just see an activist. I see a human being, someone who was bullied young, who turned that pain into performance, and who now lives inside the online persona she built. Now, before I close things out, I need to be transparent with you. This video took me a very long time to make, weeks, maybe months. And because of that, I'll admit, my own perspective shifted while making it. On some days, I was harsher. On other days, I found myself actually feeling empathy for Marissa. And that's just the truth. We're all inconsistent sometimes. And maybe you'll even notice those little shifts in tone throughout the video. But I think that's okay, because it reflects the reality. People are complex, messy, contradictory, and so are the ways we respond to them. And while I was making this video, I did ask myself multiple times, am I going too far? Is this fair? But many things I left out, intentionally and unintentionally. I got lost in my 20 pages notes. I even thought, if this video somehow genuinely hurts Marissa in a way that feels wrong, I would consider taking it down. What I want is to look at what she represents, to critique the ideas, the culture around her, and maybe to better understand why someone ends up as the face of fat activism in the first place. So, what do I take away from all this? It's a mix. I don't hate her. I don't think she's the worst of the fat acceptance movement like I originally thought. But I still don't buy into the movement she represents, because for all the loud confidence and self-love talk, what I see underneath is still pain, still insecurity, still the same struggles that everyone has, only wrapped in a louder package, plus the health problems. So, if you've made it this far into the video, thank you. Truly. Now, I'll leave you with this. We should be allowed to critique. We should be allowed to question. And we should definitely be allowed to laugh, even at things that are uncomfortable.
Okay, so one thing that I just find really fucking hysterical is that anytime I talk about diet culture, fat phobia, thin privilege, I always get comments of uneducated, ignorant people saying, "Oh my god, stop making shit up." And it's like, are you seriously giving me that much power that you think that I made up these terms? You think that I have made up these terms that have been around for over fucking 30 years and they've been academically studied, but you think that I just made it up on TikTok today? How fucking dumb are you? Holy fucking shit. But thank you for giving me the power and boosting my ego even more. It's great. Thank you, but please shut the fuck up now.
If you like this video, make sure to subscribe, drop a comment, and suggest whom should I cover next.
Y'all are so fucking dumb. Did you not comprehend what I said? Not everyone has time to walk. There are some people who fucking work 3 or 4 or 5 jobs that do not have time to lose weight.
What is this nonsense? You don't need to have time to lose weight. Just don't eat. Or eat less. Even to emphasize this, if you did not have this much spare time, you would lose weight.
I've been meaning to talk about this topic for a long time, so thank you for this comment for reminding me about it. One thing that people don't realize when, like, they just tell people, just lose weight. Not everyone can because it costs money to lose weight. Now, I know a lot of the fat phobes are gonna be like, well, just, buy stuff on sale. Fruit's not that expensive, or vegetables are not that expensive, or you can work out at home. But what a lot of people don't realize is that in order to work out at home or even go to the gym, you need to have enough money to have enough time to do that. And like for people who say, oh, just meal prep your food, then you won't have to, buy out or eat out a lot. And it's like, okay, but not everyone has enough money, one, to do that, or enough money to have time to do that. And it bugs me that people don't realize this.
It costs money to lose weight. This is the most ridiculous statement. How is not eating at all cost money? How much does it cost to not eat? How much should I pay for not eating the burger? You don't have to work out to lose weight, but strength training is good for your brain health.
There's no such thing as a healthy diet because diets are not healthy. Any form of restriction of food is not healthy. A balanced diet and healthy eating is not the same as a diet.
A lot of people think the word diet means a short-term plan to lose weight. But really, diet simply means your overall way of eating. But okay.
Hello everyone! I hope you are eating neutral today. So while you watch me make some breakfast sandwiches, I am going to talk about disordered eating and eating disorders. And specifically the difference because a few of you asked. So the term disordered eating is used to describe a range of eating behaviors that may or may not qualify as eating disorders under the eating disorder criteria. Having disordered eating patterns or noticing them is not a diagnosis. However, if disordered eating behaviors are not addressed or healed, then unfortunately that could lead to specific eating disorders. So some examples of disordered eating are things like feeling shame or guilt after eating something, seeing food as good and bad, having some sort of ritual after you eat something bad like skipping a meal, yo-yo dieting, thinking about food all day, and cutting out certain food groups or not buying certain things because you feel out of control. So although these are all disordered eating habits, not all of them warrant a diagnosis for EDs. And just to clarify, I'm not a dietitian.
Eating neutral? We don't need all this philosophizing. Just don't eat. You've eaten enough.
Hi there, this is just your friendly daily reminder that you cannot tell someone's health by looking at them or by their appearance. Doctors can't even do that, so neither can you, even though you might think you have a superpower. Unlearn your fatphobia!
But you can indeed say that being overweight makes you statistically more prone to almost every disease.
Hi there, I'm going to teach you something, okay? You are assuming shit about me based on my appearance when you know nothing about me. You're assuming I'm destroying myself by just looking at me. You don't know my daily habits. You don't know my daily workout regime. You don't know what I eat daily. Because unless you have a fucking camera hidden somewhere in my fucking apartment, you do not know. So therefore, you are assuming everything that you think that you know about me. And you're assuming, and it's not based in anything other than biases and stereotypes. So yes, I do have agency. And I am caring for myself, and I'm not destroying myself or my body. But you wouldn't know that because you're not actually me. So take your fat phobia, take your fat phobic comments, and stop giving them to fat people who don't want them. Your unwanted comment is causing me more harm than being fat.
But stereotypes arise because people notice patterns or common traits within a group and then generalize them. In many cases, assumptions are correct.
Okay, so let's talk about consent for a second, okay? Because especially since you're a nurse and you seem to not comprehend that, let's cover it, okay? So I never asked for your opinion on my body, meaning if you give it to me, it's harassment, okay? Because I never consented to you giving me health advice. Meaning, when you do, it's unwanted, not needed, not wanted, and I never said yes to it. So, don't do it, and stop crossing people's boundaries, especially if you're a fucking nurse. Me saying, no, I don't want your unsolicited health advice is me saying no. And then you ignoring that, and then proceeding to give me the unsolicited health advice that I don't want anyway? Yeah, that's harassment. So don't fucking do it. And, yeah, quit your job.
But you post online for all people to see. No one walks to you outside to give you advice. The comments are not just for you.
Hey, Marissa, I don't want to be mean or anything. Yeah, I don't want to, be mean or anything, but I feel like I need to tell you that you shouldn't, be living the way that you are. No, you know what I mean. No, I really don't. And if you have to start your sentence like that, then you probably shouldn't be saying what you're saying. Yeah, well, I just don't want to be mean or anything. I just want to, help you out, and because I care about you and your health. If you cared about my health, then you would also care about my mental health, and you wouldn't be saying fuck all about my body unwarranted. Whoa, whoa, whoa! I wasn't talking about your body. Then please enlighten me with what you were going to say. Well, I just don't want to be mean or anything.
But wait, the reality is that you may have hurt many people by promoting obesity. Some of your audience are young, impressionable, or struggling with their own health, and hearing that weight has no impact on well-being is dangerous. So you are encouraging others down a path that could harm them in the long run.
So skinny shaming and fat shaming are not the same, because skinny shaming is bullying and fat shaming is actually oppression and discrimination, and it's systemic. They're the same. No, they're not, and I just explained that they aren't. Well, they're both bad. Yes, I never said otherwise. Well, you're putting skinny shaming down. Stating that skinny shaming and fat shaming are different for systemic reasons is not putting skinny shaming down. It's making the difference between the two so people understand how fat shaming caused systemic harm. Yeah, but skinny shaming is still bullying. Yes, I am aware of that. That was in my first statement. I said that skinny shaming is bullying. Well, then why are you putting it down? I'm not. Yeah, you are. No, I'm not. Skinny shaming is real and valid, but fat people are systemically oppressed, and that's the point that I'm making. Well, skinny shaming and fat shaming are still the same.
So the whole world is against you. Even TikTok. TikTok is fatphobic and bullies you. Victim all the way.
Do people just not realize how triggering this is? Especially when you say it to people who you don't know anything about? This could make somebody in eating disorder recovery relapse or go back into disordered eating.
Sure, go to the gym may hurt someone, but promoting obesity won't.
Okay, so I know this is one of the only fatphobic comments on this cooking video, but I need to address it because I haven't talked about this subject in a little bit, so let's get into it. You do not need to earn your food. That's it. You don't need to earn your food. You don't need to work out for your food. You don't need to burn your calories for your food. You are allowed to eat without earning your food. You are allowed to eat without working out for it. Working out is not a consequence for what you eat. And this way of thinking, this idea that you have to earn your food in order to eat, is rooted in diet culture. And diet culture is rooted in racism and white supremacy. Diet culture is a way to control people, but most importantly, it's a way to control women. It's a way to control us, to make us worried about our fucking body and how we look, so that we don't pay attention to anything else. It's a control mechanism. See how everything's fucking linked? So in reality, the act of not feeling bad for eating is a rebellion against the patriarchy.
Let's stop promoting disordered eating. Let's stop promoting disordered eating. Let's stop it. Let's stop it. Let's stop promoting disordered eating. Let's stop it. 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 Okay.